Hi, everybody. My name is Emilio Ulloa, and I am the Director of Advising for the College of Sciences.
And hello, my name is Melissa Gonzalez, and I work with commuter life in student life and leadership.
Why don't we go ahead and start the presentation. So in today's session, I want to start by talking to you about who you are, your identity. This presentation is based on Yasso's cultural wealth model and Miku and Jones' multiple dimensions of identity. Talking about our identity can be a challenging thing. And one of the reasons is that it's complicated. Identities are social constructions, which means they're real, but they're a function of shared meaning among people that we've constructed as significant categories. Furthermore, we each have many identities, but not multiple personalities, just many identities. Those are two completely different things. So you see, identities can be a function of different categories. Categories like your religious affiliation, your socioeconomic status, your ethnicity, your gender, your sexual orientation, your education or profession, and so on. Furthermore, these different identities are context dependent. And what that means is that different identities can become more salient or core to who you are, depending on your situation, depending on who you're talking to, or what's going on around you. So sometimes these different situations that we find ourselves in make us more aware of some aspects of our identity than others. And for some people, those identities are more salient or more core. They become more defining parts of who we are. For example, in my own timeline, I mentioned that I identify as Chicano. My ethnic identity is often a salient identity for me. Often when I'm around others who are not like me, I'm more aware of that part of my identity. But I less often think about being a man, or even less so being a heterosexual man. Both are aspects of my identity that are less often salient for me. Sometimes when aspects of our identities become salient, it can be anxiety provoking. It can make us feel uncomfortable, and in some cases can make us feel like we are less than. But other times, activating different identities can provide benefits. There are places and social situations where identities are not threatening or anxiety provoking. And we do well to seek out these places because in these cases, the opposite can be true. Our identities can provide strength. So to put this into context, Melissa is going to introduce the concept of cultural capital.
So when you think about culture, what do you think are some forms of capital? What comes to mind? Is it your language, your hopes and dreams, your aspirations? How about your family and your social network? These are all forms of cultural capital. Each of these are what makes your culture so rich. Understanding your own cultural wealth will help you gain confidence and strengthen yourself as a leader and as a person. So let's define cultural wealth. And as we go through this, start thinking about your own cultural wealth. Let's start with aspirational capital. Our aspirations, our hopes and dreams, our goals, and or ideas that we look forward to. Keeping these in mind builds resilience. It is what keeps us going. Our ability to keep going until reaching our dream is a great strength to have. Then we have linguistic capital. Your own language can be a strength. Those who speak other languages, or even a variation of their own language, helps them acquire intellectual and social skills. We learn how to perceive the world from a different lens. And doing so allows us to more effectively communicate with different kinds of people. Storytelling, parables, proverbs, all require memorization, attention to detail, and even comedic timing and facial expressions. Some of us can remember the stories that our grandparents would share with us. Think about their facial expressions, the dramatic pauses, and the change in their tone or pitch.
Another type of capital is familial and social capital. Some of us have been able to build some strong connections to our family, friends, and community resources. And these groups have become our support system. As we're striving to reach our goals, Our family and friends are the ones that we turn to for support. Next, we have navigational capital. So navigating large social systems such as educational institutions can be difficult. Having someone to teach you how to navigate that large system or to teach you strategies for navigating that system can make a huge difference in your lives.
Next, we have resistance skills. Those who have experienced inequality have been able to build resistance skills. Speaking up by asking questions or sharing your concerns are ways of resistance, and again, a great strength to have. So here's a visual of the model. We have all these different forms of capital that we just reviewed, and this represents your cultural capital. So here's my example. Let's start with aspirational capital. My hopes and dreams were to earn a graduate degree and obtain a career working with students. Even though I was a first-generation college student, my parents instilled in me the importance of reaching higher. They weren't thinking I was going to go for my bachelor's. They were thinking of me going higher. So that dream is what kept me pushing through the obstacles. Next on the top right, we have familial and social capital. This is represented by the huge amount of support from my parents and my community resources. Growing up in San Isidro, the border town connecting us to Mexico, I was connected to Casa Familiar. This is a nonprofit organization. I was able to develop my leadership skills through participating in one of their youth programs. I feel that I could rely on them to answer any questions related to education. Next on the bottom left, we have navigational capital. Again, as a first-generation college student, my mom didn't know which office to send me to on campus, but she was involved and invested and always advised that I go see my EOP counselor. And she was right. They always had all the answers for me. Lastly, linguistic capital. Many of the families that I work with here at SDSU don't speak English as their first language, and they have difficulty understanding the complexities of college programs. Sometimes they don't feel comfortable reaching out for assistance. With my ability to speak both English and Spanish, I'm able to effectively communicate with these families, and it eases their anxiety and stress. I'm able to create a deeper sense of trust, which I would not be able to create if I didn't speak Spanish. So I have a quick story to share. Again, as a first-generation college student, oldest in my family, I had a lot of pressure to do well and to succeed. I applied to a summer job before starting my grad program, and I didn't get it. And I felt like a failure. I was afraid of sharing that with my family, but after a little bit of reflection, I realized, no, I need them. I need to turn to them. I need to think about my dreams and goals. And it's funny looking back and thinking about that because I didn't realize that these were strengths that I have. So then an opportunity opened up in student life and leadership. And it was helping start the first commuter learning community called Casa Azteca. And I'm so happy that I had that opportunity. And that was something else that opened up to help me continue to move through my journey. So now it's your turn. Here's what the model looks like. And we would like you to create your own and share with a partner. And at the bottom, we have the reflection prompt for you. How has your own cultural wealth provided you strengths that you can use to attain your college degree?